Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, July 28th, 2021, Wednesday. Welcome to talk regarding quality, safety, and relations to COVID 19, and title being Civil Field Engineering, though it's complete engineering now, but I still say civil field engineering because civil also stands for public. And quality AnnexSL, COVID 19, HSC or HSC, engineer's role, designs, construction methods, contracts, organizations, communications, coordination. Why be behind quality of concrete standard? It's not simple material of concrete, but every concrete standard. Very important discussion every day we conduct in this regard. And today, and services delivered by that professional or work done by that professional must be professional, must be expert, must be reliable. That is very important point. And what we actually expect from that professional is quality system, quality work. Quality system and quality work are both related because without system establishment, quality cannot be achieved, and without achieving quality, we cannot justify any system. We cannot justify any product. If product lies short of quality, this means something wrong exists somewhere in system that we are working with, and this is a very serious matter. Quality should be an integral part of product or services. This cannot be, quality cannot be isolated from structure of product, from finishes of product, from you can say processing of product. You can say every stage of product delivery should be quality oriented. That is first requirement. And during that process of manufacturing or construction, that product should be done, should be produced in an atmosphere, in an environment that should be safety related, that should be very much safe on its own, for its people, for health of system, for health of workers, and for keeping environment good, attractive, pro public, pro people. This statement stands very good in theory. In theoretical aspect, we can say, but we have to investigate, we have to consider. Simultaneously, we have to review when we do something. Every system, every statement, every method, every performance activity, and every other activity, all must be subject to revision, subject to review, subject to reconfirmation. That is called requirement in profession. Refreshment, revalidation, review, or you can say review of designs, review of works, and you can say trial of products, testing of products, all do count in professional world. When I stress on quality, this doesn't mean same thing I'm talking. Quality is reality. Quality absence means reality absence. If I say this is a pen, You can write this, you can use this pen in writing. That means purpose of this pen is writing with ink. It may be ballpoint pen, or it may be sign pen, or it may be some other type of writing tool. Pen should perform means it should write. If pen does not write, it doesn't give ink flow, only dryly it works, then you can say this pen does not exist or it is scrap. If you have a car, you spend a lot of money on car, and if car doesn't work, it doesn't drive, what do you feel? You don't value that time, cost of car, you don't value seat covers, you don't value what sort of tires are these, because engine is useless. This means if engine is useless, car is useless. If ink in a pen is useless, pen is useless. Same way, if something else which is objective, which is considered as an objective of some product, that is useless, that product is useless. If purpose of service is useless, then service is useless. Same way, it applies to every part of life. Quality is not separate. It should not be seen separate. It cannot be identified separately. You cannot say, this is my product I am giving you, it's now your product, and this is quality of product I am giving you. Can you say that? Nobody can say that. You cannot simply say, I am working at this point, and I am keeping safety at this point. Can you accept that? You cannot accept that. I say, okay, my safety is here, that is one part, and here's my health as another part, and here's environment as third part. Can you keep that? You cannot keep that, because that is foolishness. No way. Same way, I say quality. Quality cannot be identified separately. It has to be identified within product itself. If performance of product is good, it is good quality. If performance of product is very good, it is very good quality. If performance of product is excellent, we can say it's excellent quality. And if it's value added, we can say value added quality. Or if it doesn't work, it is not standard or quality product. That is simple. Quality, people take it, sometimes ridiculously. They actually do not understand meaning of quality. They think finishes are quality, package is quality. Though it is very raw statement, nobody can accept that. Nowadays people are educated. Educated people means people are having educational quality. If people are educated, this is most attractive point, that you should use their education level to analyze and to understand what they are talking. I cannot simply say you are educated but you don't understand quality, then this statement is invalid. They understand quality, I don't know. They understand, I don't know, or I know I can't say, but they understand everything. Only point is they withdraw from that struggle. Because sometimes quality is also considered a struggle in organization itself. Because there are interests. One part is interest in money making or profit. One part is interest in quality, achievement and reputation of material and organization. But those who are only interested in money making, I can't expect that those people can deliver quality. For them, quality is extra expenses, but I don't agree with that. This is fake statement, this is imaginary statement. Whoever can make such a statement that you have to spend extra money on quality, that person does not think I understand. When quality is demanded, nothing extra is demanded. So why extra expense? Quality is not open, it is defined, it is constrained. It's constrained within limits of requirement for which payment is made. You cannot claim payment if you cannot give defined specification based quality. Quality means first you define that. You define product, this is my product. This product shall perform like this. I have put this this value into that, that's why it will perform. I have tested it, it will perform. That's what is only required. If you say no, quality shall cost more, you are not a professional. You are not a manufacturer. You are not an industrialist. In fact, you are a mindless person. How can quality cost more? Tell me. Can you change nature of material? Can you change nature of human resources? Can you change nature of machine working? Can you change anything? You cannot change anything. Only point is there is some negligence, there is some over enthusiasm, there is some carelessness and lack of training. Lack of training and lack of observation, lack of quality checks, and lack of awareness of what to do. These factors lead to absence of quality. It may be in production, it may be in product delivery, it may be in services, it may be in sales, or it may be in after sales services. Quality cannot be, cannot be defined in a non-professional way, because quality itself comes under analytical terms, because quantity cannot move alone, simultaneously quality cannot move alone. Both have to move together, supported by during process safety, health and environment. And we become very serious when we transport some product through parcel or through some other means, that it is fragile product, it shall break if you mishandle, or this product should be safe, so that packing is done excellently well. Because that time they know if you don't pack it properly, it shall damage and break, and you have to bear that cost. There, because they lose, that manufacturer loses it, that package is done excellently well, then why not to do product itself excellently well? Whatever they do, they claim through advertisement or publicity that this product is excellent. I think there is no requirement of any publicity if your product is excellent. And publicity shall not help you in the long run if quality doesn't exist. We have to understand this point. I always complain about this, and I have examples with me. Many experiences, what I have, everybody must have, because it's nothing new. You buy some product, by chance a product comes with quality or very good performing, it's your fortunate time. Your good time that you got that product and works. But in general, I don't expect these days in 2021, or you go 5-10 years back, or you may find in future, I don't know what will happen. There is no pro-quality approach, pro-quality initiative among people. I don't know why people compromise on every aspect, and this is particularly in our country, Bharat, India, and I can say also many other countries go same way. They are not different, they are not super in that. Of course, there can be difference of few percentages, but quality in Bharat, India, not only in product of engineering or civil engineering or in other engineering products, it's gone same way all over. One buys something, some person buys something with some hope that it shall work, but if that doesn't work, really it is extraordinarily surprising. They may say we are charging less money. Why you are charging less money? Charge what you spent. That's it. Charge what you spent plus your profit. If you spend 25% sum on advertisement, that's not my problem. That's your problem. Why do you want to publicize something which is not qualitative? And if you publicize, this is your responsibility. Don't add that charge into product. And if you add that charge into product and then say quality costs more, how can you say that? It's really stupid statement if somebody says quality costs more, because I have seen many professionals saying quality means extra expenses, but that is not true. It is just keeping yourself in dark, and those thinkers or professionals, they should not state as such, because this misleads everything. Quality is very much integrated part of product. It cannot be separated. And if it's separated or it's missed, this means this product is nothing but zero value, because this is a scrap. It may be car, it may be aeroplane, it may be your house, it may be vegetable, it may be biscuit packet, or whatever you can say. If it does not contain quality angle, quality degree, it's no more a product. That's all I say. Some people, I talk to someone regarding my problem. When my UPS of computer broke within 7 days of purchase, 7 days of purchase. It's surprising to know a company that's of international status like Microtech or like HP. These are very high profile companies. High profile means you can, as a consumer, as a customer, trust them. That trust should work. Otherwise, there is no meaning of trust. Everything cannot depend on law or cannot depend on certain system. Always trust has value. Professional trust. Professional trust means it's based on experience, it's based on use of material. It's not that somebody comes with new company and say, this is my material, you trust me. You cannot trust that product until you experience use of that product. How that company products works. You have to experience that, and only after 1 or 2 or 3 uses or experience you can say, yes, this company's quality is good one. Still you cannot say reliable one. But those companies who have been working for decades at national and international level, if their products do not come into that status of quality, or they were quality status sometimes and now they deteriorate, that of course raises a question mark. How it is? How it is that this question comes in and there is question mark? Why? Means that question is very, very expensive. Who can answer that question? One has to answer that question. That's my point. I can't believe in, I can't trust in such product from delivered by some top class you can say manufacturer, and you don't have good use of that once you get that, and sometimes it happens that it doesn't work at all. That person to whom I talked, he told me that please don't talk, everywhere it's like this, because I talked to him that it's been not even guarantee period over. When I purchased, it broke in 7 days. Yes, he says, I know, a card was changed. So in 7 days a card was changed. Then again I complained within guarantee period, and he said it's some transformers. So how it could be? He said maybe some electric supply problem, but products are same. Everywhere it is same, and you cannot say this would work or this would not work. That was answer of that person. Reason was if you're talking of international companies or national companies or big guns, these are all same. There is no, it's all name. They do not work themselves. They just buy products from their own petty vendors, and nobody checks quality. They just put their logo on that, put their seal on that, and that's it. So that person told some reality, that even if you buy from branded company, branded manufacturer, you can't say product is reliable. That's important point here. You can't say that product is reliable. That's important point. Product reliability doesn't come with brand, it comes with performance. So your performance is not branded. Your product is branded, but performance of product is not branded. That's a question here. This means you buy from local producer, local manufacturer who has no brand, or you buy from international company, product is same, Only benefit is when you buy from local manufacturer, you pay lesser amount, and that person shall charge cost as well as some percentage of profit. While international packer, now it should packer only, I should say, not manufacturer. International branded company is now acting as a packer, as a seller, as salesman only, because this production is not done by that person, by that unit, by that company. Means that person, that company does not have manufacturing unit. They just buy product from local market, put their logo and sell it with margin of profit. If that is business, I condemn this business. Means my trust lies with that manufacturer, but that manufacturer relies on local market. So why should I go for that product? Then where is quality then? Question is, where is quality? Means your own quality is absent. You depend on quality given by that manufacturer. This means it is all fake. In that case, you can say this product is fake. Fake because it's not your product, is some other body's produced product. So what you are doing? You are abusing my money. You are cheating your consumer, your customer. If that is case, where is your quality system? Did you write in quality system that we shall give it to vendor? And did you check where is your check record? Your system says, what does your system state? Means, what did you write in your system? Point is that. It's a very big point I'm talking of. Maybe you people are not clear about that. Because it's your own system, you devise that quality system, you approve that quality system, and your quality system must be within standard organization's guidelines. And there is a third party that approves system, and that third party is of course empowered or authorized by standard organizations like ISO or like Sigma or like someone else. This means you're not serious. You're not serious about anything. You are only interested in selling your product. You are not interested in ensuring quality of that product. And it is engineers whose responsibility goes out of their profession, because maybe they are under pressure. Engineer is not free. Engineer is an employee or maximum a consultant. But what can engineer do? If engineers must realize quality effects, then one has to speak about this. But why to speak about this? My job is safe. If I speak, maybe I am removed. And that factor comes into points. I've seen this many times as an engineer. Means my boss used to say, my boss, Arabic boss, or sometimes other bosses say, oh, you are not a contractor, you are a consultant. Means they just like, of course, it's a one-way compliment as well, that you are more serious about checking when somebody says that you are a consultant. This means you are very much serious about quality of that, work of that, about procedure of that. But otherwise, you are not a contractor, because it was a contracting company. A contractor thinks I should get much profit as much profit as possible. Of course, that doesn't say that you destroy this or you make bad product, because in that where I worked in that area, it was not possible to give bad quality. And they had to give good quality, but of course quality also has certain good, bad, or very good or very bad, like that. Means he told me, you are a consultant and that's why I don't give you bonus. I told me, okay, don't give me bonus, no problem. I am not working for bonus, I am working for salary, and I am working for my profession. I accept this loss, and I thank you very much that at least you are calling me consultant in contracting company. See, it's surprising issue is, you work in a contracting company and somebody teases you, your boss teases you, you are a consultant. This means that person is not happy with my work, because maybe he thinks that I'm giving loss to them, but that person is forced, that company is forced to employ you because it is a requirement on contract. So what I say, it's not fault of engineers exclusively, though engineers are at fault, I can't say no, because methods are drawn by engineers, and quality checks are done by engineers, and either they just sign, they just pass without making sure quality is done, or they don't visit I don't say outsourcing is illegal. It's not illegal. Outsourcing is required if it's necessary, depending on quantum of work. Don't take that. I don't accept that. Outsourcing is accepted. But just like you involve yourself with inspection and testing on products carried out or produced by your own company or own manufacturing unit, same way you have to examine, you have to test, you have to supervise those sub-vendors, those local manufacturers to whom you subcontract or give this manufacturing subcontract. Then you should have same control on them, and they should also have their staff. This means maybe they have or they don't have, you know well, or you do or you don't know, you know well. There is a level, there is a degree of collapse. Degree of collapse, I say. There is a degree of collapse in procedure of manufacturing, in procedure of quality controls, and these two combinations, these combinations of ignorance of system controls and quality controls, in a combined way goes to deteriorated quality or substandard material. So what I say, that quality cannot exist if you don't care for that. You don't save anything. If you think you save, then I can say, then you are not a thinker. Engineers must realize quality facts, and in particular civil engineers have to change quality aspects of society, or else quality cannot exist. Because generally quality of other disciplines like mechanical, if it's not mechanical project, mechanical engineers, engineering or electrical engineering or IT, these go into civil products and serve them. So prime responsibility of quality lies with civil engineers. It may be a structure, it may be a house, it may be a building, it may be a flyover, it may be water resources dams, it may be canals. So there is no supplies yet. And there are, you can say flyover, you can say tube railway, you can say metro, you can say road, where whole society depends upon. Prime responsibility goes to civil engineers or construction engineers. Systems quality to be devised. So you have many systems. In writing you have, in understanding you have, in good industrial practice you have. Systems quality to be devised and achieved. Broken system means broken life linked to broken system. Why we hear news that scaffolding opened, or shuttering opened, or this roof collapsed, or that bridge collapsed? It happens. It's not very big issue. Even in everywhere you will find same all over the world. Maybe in our country it's frequent, while in other countries it's not frequent. It is occasional, sometimes in isolation. It says professionals' individual quality to be amended, because individual, or you can say engineer, who's first individual in performance or in, you can say, execution or in design, that engineer is responsible, primarily responsible for product. And if engineer is responsible, engineer is up to date, engineer is updated, engineer is sincere, or you can apply all qualities to engineer. If engineer is of that cadre, certainly its associates like foreman, like general, like technician, or like whoever work in that team, they will follow engineer. They cannot go against instructions given by engineer. That's also main point. And engineer has to do work according to engineering requirement, and not exclusively to what that owner wants. Yes, you have to follow owner also, but to some extent you can follow owner to requirement of quantity delivery, you can follow to schedule or to milestones, you can follow to meeting market demand, but all these requirements never mean that you compromise with quality. Plainly speak, you cannot do it. You cannot deliver this material in this quantity if resources are not increased, or infrastructure is not enhanced. You have to learn yourself, you have to teach yourself first, you have to instruct yourself first. That is called self-study, self-lead, self-proaction. We call this sometimes proaction. You have to act proactively to make yourself better, and after that, once you do it, you have every right to instruct your associates, your assistants, or your team. And then if team knows that you improve yourself, you never give lectures without any basis. You are serious. You first do yourself and then tell them do it. Means you have to lead first. Just lecture is not enough. Talk is not enough if you don't do it. It is technical work, it is professional work, it is engineering work, it's manufacturing work. These works cannot be done by talks. These works cannot be done just by computer keys. These works are responsible activities, and therefore these are factual based. And when it is factual based, means you cannot depend on imagination, you cannot depend on promises. You have to do it and deliver it. If you depend on outsourcing, it's not bad, provided everything must be controlled. Because if you employ your people and do it after training them, it is same thing if you train people through other source. Nothing wrong. I don't condemn that, because that's part of life in profession. In civil engineering, generally items are given as such, but to those to whom you trust. For example, I give some work of form work to some my own people, say those experts, carpenters, or who have long experience in form work. I can say, okay, don't stay on my roll. I'll pay you this much per square meter or per cubic meter of concrete. If you accept, you do take 4 or 5 people, 4 or 5 carpenters with you, and I will not pay you on wages, but I'll pay you on your work. That's also is possible, and we used to do it. Still people do that. Same it can apply to reinforcement, cutting, bending and placing, and also to many other activities. And that's not wrong. After all, those are experienced people. They have done lot of work. They did lot of concrete, lot of form work. They did work on steel fixing, or they did work on something else which can be measured, or which can be given a lump sum package, or whatever way. They are your people. Same way it can be given to outsourcing also, because they are also experienced. They are not laymen. They are not tea seller. Means they are technical people. I call them with respect that they are better than those gazetted officers who do nothing. They are better than those IAS officers who do nothing. These people at least give work forever. If that form work carpenter doesn't work, we cannot do shutters. If we don't have these steel people, we cannot provide steel. This means we cannot complete building, we cannot do building work, we cannot do structural work. These people are, of course, they are not well organized, they are not well educated to an extent. Our septic education is concerned. They are educated in technical way, in a vocational way. That must be respected, because what they can do, you cannot do. A graduate or postgraduate person in our country cannot do what a carpenter can do, what a steel fixer can do, what an electrician can do, what a plumber can do, because these are all trades. These trades are based on facts and not on fictions. There's a difference. Fact or fiction means I want to give services on fiction basis, on imagination, which doesn't work, which has no value. We have to, because in factual world we have to design structures, we have to design everything of structures. What we have to do, we must keep all problems appraised. We must know what risks can be involved with that design, and we have to take decision on every risk or any activity or any imposed load, and we have to keep safety of structure in mind and safety of those people who are going to occupy that, and we have to keep quality factor in mind, and we have to observe and we have to assess we have to decide, means how can we bring, how can we input, how can we put in values of reliability into that product, so that life of this product that we assume saying 100 years or 50 years, it's not just 10 months or 2 months or 3 months, or just like warranty period of 2 years or 1 year. No, it's not that. It's for long life, means to whom we sell this product or for whom we build this product, that person may be no more after some time. Generation of that person may come and go. So you can say 2 or 3 generations at least shall avail that product. So it's very serious matter. It's not that easy as we think. It's not just a UPS, I say warranty of 1 year or 2 year and throw it. Somebody told me use and throw. Even that we expect that which is warranted for 2 years, it should work at least for 5 years or 10 years. That's what we expect. A car which should work for at least 10 years. Those products, if we worry about them, why don't we worry about those products which have to work for 50 to 100 years? That's point here. Without quality, or can say without inbuilt quality into that product, you cannot say that it's going. So that's very big question. Very big question. This must be considered by engineering world and by public. You are going to spend millions and millions on your building, and you are not asking any question. It's really strange, and those manufacturers or those promoters know it very well. No, they shall raise this question because you are in need of house and they are in need of money. That's it. This is a relation. Does your relation exist between money and your need, or you spend money for quality product? Or you are also interested in making business only, in doing business with them. I buy this house or this building and then dispose of this later on after making double profit. Means market demand changes quality. If there's more demand, you shall change quality. No, it can't be accepted. Quality has to be maintained at required level. You cannot say, oh, demand is more, I just made it very rapidly and you did not get that much quality. That's not reasonable. That cannot be accepted. If you want to enhance your production, if you want to raise your production level, you have to raise resources. Even you cannot say, I force my workers to work 20 hours a day or 18 hours a day. You can't force, because maximum industrial standards don't allow more than 10 hours. 8 hours plus 2 hours overtime, or including overtime, it is 10 hours. In rare cases, it can be more. But it is human that works, and also machines cannot work continuously because machines also require maintenance. So this is not possible. If you want to raise your business, you want to enhance your quantity, you have to raise your resources. You have to raise level of your resources, and that's very clear. Means one should not say, you cannot take excuse on anything. I don't want to repeat again and again, but I would say engineering only. Engineering is application, and application means quality application. It doesn't mean application alone. It's not application on paper. It's application on ground. It's application on materials. It's application on facts. It's application on design. It's application on future. Application means future. Can you run away from that? That's called engineering. And engineering means mind. Engineering means thinking. Engineering means quality. Engineering means conformance to requirement. Engineering means conformance to specification. Engineering means durability. Engineering means safety. Engineering means requirements meeting. Engineering means, you can say, service. Engineering means reliability. And missing all, we have to blame ourselves for quality failure. Reliability, I call it reliability, though it's also some of quality. Reliability is quality of every act, quality of every sequence. Some of that is reliability. What level of reliability it is, that can be defined. What level of quality it is can be defined. What level of Input it is can be defined, and quality means compliance to that requirement. It doesn't mean you bring stars from sky or sun or moon from sky and say this is quality. Nobody shall demand gold if it is iron requirement. Means whatever is required, and requirement is design. Designer has required something. It's design that requires, that designer specifies what is required. It may be design specification, it can be work specification, or it can be whatever specification, material specification, which material you have to use, that's most important. But only use of material is not important. How we have to use, what factors to be considered, all these count in designs. Engineering means quality application and continuous improvement of quality. But if you don't keep quality factor into our consideration at first point, then how can you say it will improve? You cannot say, because you are not serious. I am not serious. Nobody is serious. An absence of seriousness is of course very, very challenging, and there is no way that exists not to comply with defined or specified quality labels, because definition of quality is a must. And it's not only definition, work on that definition, and that definition requires to be achieved, that definition requires to be implemented and achieved, or else work leads to status of being unsuccessful and to be re-performed, which is very expensive. If you keep this point in mind, you shall be very successful. And we are talking of quality. Quality is not directly done. It is done through certain phases. Quality requires design. Quality requires availability of materials which are defined, and also quality requires certain procedure or methods for each step, for each activity, and also it requires testing and controls. It also requires certain specification implementation, and all these must be under some safety cover. That safety cover we name as SHE, or you can say safety, health and environment. And there are so many issues in safety, health and environment we talk of. This is chapter 21 of my work on safety, health and environment. Just like there is work on method statements, this is work on safety, health and environment. And it says that working at height and fall prevention, we talked of this last time also. It's very important, serious issue that we are talking of, working at height and fall prevention. We defined scope. So we talked on definitions of this requirement, and then of course we can see that we define various other positions, what they have to do on site or otherwise, and then we worked on the responsibilities. Then we can say we come out of that, and of course we have to go to, because in heights there are so many hazards involved, in heights, working heights, so many hazards involved, and we talked of that. We are somewhere, I think, just shall ensure work with subcontractor supervision, shall ensure workforces complying to this procedure on works, developing start cards and job hazard analysis or assessments statement required like that. And job hazard analysis, you know very well, and start, this is safety task analysis, risk review technique, that is safety task analysis, risk review technique, which is done in beginning of activity and which card is given to everybody who can understand, particularly in mechanical and electrical, but it also is done in civil analysis, ensuring all personnel are adequately trained to operate above ground levels. They must be trained, and ensuring that line supervision competent by training and experience shall be provided for control of work above ground level. Ensuring the minimum required number of personnel are assigned to minimize exposure to risk from fall from height. So ensuring that minimum required number of personnel are assigned to minimize exposure to risk from fall from height, because everybody cannot be allowed for that until one is well trained. Provide employees personnel with relevant personal protective equipment so that work can be carried out in a safe manner. And ensuring edge protection is provided. Edge protection is provided at possible locations where personnel could be susceptible to falls when working at height more than 2 meters, which is very, or 0.75 you can say. Ensure personnel in vicinity of above ground work are not subject to risk of falling, because falling means it's fatal. Then contractor and subcontractor, structural steel superintendents shall ensure that no work is being carried out on structural steel until it has been made safe with gratings, handrails, kick plates, and position and overall structural torque. Instructions: primary means of achieving safe working conditions. Primary means of achieving safe working conditions when working at heights is to provide adequate, sufficient access and egress arrangements with suitable provisions of working platforms at place of work. Primary means of achieving safe working conditions when working at heights is to provide adequate, sufficient access and egress arrangements with suitable provision of working platforms at place of work. Toolbox stock is very important. We always say a toolbox stock shall be delivered to each person carrying out work at height. Following an assessment of risks, supervisor shall instruct personnel on procedures and precautions to be followed when working at height. Toolbox stocks means how they have to work. First of all, they have to keep themselves safe. Every individual worker has to keep self safe before doing work. That is main part of toolbox stocks in this case. Tools means what belt we should use, how we use hammer there, how we use some other tool there. If you work on electrical grinder, how we have to work, or one has to work. When depending on the activity, what activity you have to perform, toolbox stock comes into play at height. Means whatever toolbox stock was done at ground use, same thing is done with more precautions at heights. Approved full body safety harness should only be used for safe working, where working conditions do not allow to use a safe working platform. Means if platform is there, that's first priority. If safe working platform is there, that can be used. But if that's not possible, then harness is a must. Full body harness you can say. And then fall protection equipment, which can say personal working above ground level. Personal working above ground level on incomplete structures. Personal working above ground level on incomplete structures, scaffolds, etc. shall be provided with and use appropriate fall protection. These points we have to be very careful about. Well, I think last time working at let me see if I can do it. I can find that. Yeah, there was some point, I think some file I retried from that. Last time we used this file for explanation. Working at height what was, and you can see these OSHA issues we talked of. Working at height procedure requirement we talked of, and then working at height fall prevention system, and we talked of identification of fall hazards and risk control in workplace. Identification of fall hazards, I say, let me just blow it up further so that everybody can see it. Identification of fall hazards risk control in workplace during working at height. Working at height fall protection equipment we talked of, guardrail system, warning line system, safety full body harness, anchorage, connections and lifeline, and self-retracting lifeline, shock absorber, snap hook. Maintenance and inspection of fall protection equipment, like all personal fall protection equipment must be stored in a dedicated area where their integrity can be ensured. Inspection of this equipment should follow a formal monthly schedule in addition to pre-use visual inspections by user wear, damage or other signs of deterioration, and defective equipment must be removed from service immediately if of any of the following signs are observed, like cuts and tears, undue stretching, alteration, additions, deterioration from acid, fire or sources, distorted hooks, or you can say. Likewise, this is how to keep this elevation safe, so that people should not fall. You can see this here. All these are the prevention falls. Likewise, this is how many meters from here, from this level. And another one here for guardrail, like this, the guardrail and toe rail, toe guard. And likewise, it can be said that. Then you can say working at height guardrail systems. Permanent guardrails are often constructed as a part of stairways. We use in homes permanent guardrails are often constructed. We call them railing here, and are often constructed as part of stairways, landings, work platforms, and equipment access platforms. Where short-term fall hazards exist, temporary guardrails are used. So we can say then working at heights, toolbox stocks and warning monitors. Working at temporary warning. We should understand this point. Means what is temporary warning and what is that? Working at height, temporary warnings consisting of ropes, wires, chains, and supporting props. Temporary warning lines are designed for short-term hazards. They must be flagged at least once, at least every 1.8 meters, with high visibility material, and signage must be posted indicating control access during construction. Warning lines are required to be no lower than 850 mm and no higher than 900 mm from walking surface. This is warning lines. So what is that? Working at height temporary warning consisting of ropes, wires, chains and supporting props. Temporary warning lines are designed for short-term hazards. They must be flagged at every 1.8 meters with high visibility material, and signage must be posted indicating control access during construction. Warning lines are required to be no lower than 850 mm and no higher than 900 mm from walking surface. Working at height, toolbox stock and warning monitor. Before start of work at height, toolbox stocks must be conducted to make aware all involved persons about identified hazards, risk and control measures. Warning monitors are competent personnel. Assigned to keep others away from fall hazards, and they should only be utilized when all other means of fall protections are not possible. Warning monitors must not have any other duty in addition to keeping people away from fall hazards. Then we have to working at height, fall resistance system. We have fall resistance system inhibits a person to fall, or you can say to prevent them from falling. Fall resistance systems comprising anchorages, connectors, body belts, harnesses, lanyards and lifelines and rope grabs. Anchorage points must be capable of withstanding 4 times expected load and must be raised to prevent vertical fall. Working at height, fall arrest system we have. Likewise, you can say we discuss all this. And we have working at height lanyards we talked of. Lanyard hooks, first of this we go see this one. This is, you can say, it says there's a time limit also. Let's say even after an individual even after an individual is caught from a fall by a fall arrest system, that individual is not out of danger, that individual is in danger, and within 15 to 20 minutes, suspension from a harness causes blood to pool in legs. Within 15 to 20 minutes, suspension from a harness causes blood to pool in legs, eventually making suspended individual pass out. Non-circulating blood in legs then loses oxygen and becomes toxic, a dangerous condition known as suspension trauma, also known as harness hang syndromes or orthostatic intolerance. To prevent suspension trauma, best practice is to utilize a body harness with suspension trauma straps that individual can use to hook their feet into and push their body upwards, allowing their blood to continue circulating. Working at height lanyards also it's something different. Although I discuss this, but lanyards hook is supports body and are intended to stretch when loaded. Stretch slows down impact speed and arresting force when person wears falls. A typical lanyard harness is rated for a capacity of 140 kg-pounds. 140 kg-pounds is wrong here. Proper length lanyards must be chosen for job. If it's too long, then it cannot prevent falling person from hitting surfaces or objects below. As far as lanyard snap hook device, only self-enclosing and self-locking types should be used, and two lanyards snaps hooks should never be connected together. Then working at height anchorages we talked of anchorages. Fall arrest equipment is connected to an anchorage point which supports equipment and individual in event of fall. In certain countries, it's required that anchorage point used for attachment of personal fall arrest equipment must be independent of an anchorage being used to support suspended platform. Different anchorages consist of cross-arm straps for covering around structural members. Driven anchorage points fastened temporarily or permanently to fixed structure. Concrete anchors are generally drilled into concrete floors or walls, and bar anchors that bridge an opening. Working at height scaffolding system, this is that. It should be safe from around. No way the people should fall from this. That is working at height scaffolding safety. And now all types of scaffolding must be installed by competent and certified professional. We talked of this, and everything should be clear about that. Then scaffold must be completed in such a manner that falls to lower levels are prevented. This could be done by implementing one or more following: mounting handrails and kickbouts, securing tools and other items, attaching safety net if necessary, considering erecting barriers and signs, using certified scaffolding only. Then scaffolding training, competency and supervision of working at height. Scaffolding may only be erected by competent personnel. Trained person can say scaffolding may only be erected, maintained, altered or dismantled under strict personal supervision of a competent scaffolding supervisor who has been appointed in writing. So that was that one, and every scaffolder should be trained. Scaffolding may only be erected, maintained, altered and dismantled by competent and appointed scaffolding erectors. It's a scaffolding supervisor's responsibility to ensure that all persons carrying out such work are suitably trained and experienced. And safety measure during erection and dismantling of scaffold. So it's also very important, because they throw sometimes, it's not right. Only approved scaffolding components may be used to erect a scaffold. Scaffolding must be erected, modified and used in accordance with manufacturer's guidelines or recommendations. and in strict compliance with all applicable legislation and standards. A freestanding scaffold must not exceed a height of 3 times smallest dimension of its base. Scaffolds with height to base width ratio of more than 3:1 must be restrained from tipping over by guying, tying, or bracing. Guy wires and tie present scaffolding from tipping away from building or structure, and braces are rigid supports that prevent scaffolding from tipping into building or structure. The scaffolding must be secured to structure every 6 meters vertically. Scaffolding must be secured to structure every 6 meters vertically and every 9 meters horizontally as minimum. Adequate underpinning sills or footplates must be provided for scaffolds erected on filled, otherwise soft ground, including sand or gravel. If scaffolding is to be load bearing, that is other than normal access and workplace storage, a full calculation and design must be prepared and authorized in writing by structural engineer. Load limits specified by scaffold manufacturer may not be exceeded under whatever circumstances. Scaffolds must be in plumb and level at all times. All scaffolding components must be in good condition, that is undamaged and free of corrosion. All scaffolding components must be properly connected or secured, and scaffolding must be effectively braced, diagonal bracing. Each person erecting, maintaining, altering or dismantling scaffolding must use fall protection at all times. That is a full body safety harness with 2 shock absorbing lanyards fitted with safety hooks, safe holders. So each person erecting, maintaining, altering or dismantling. It says each person erecting, maintaining, altering or dismantling scaffolding must use fall protection at all times. That is a full body safety harness with 2 shock absorbing lanyards fitted with scaffolding hooks. With full harness, body safety harness with 2 shock absorbing lanyards fitted with scaffold hooks. Work must be planned to enable every scaffolding erector to be securely anchored all time. A suitable lanyard length not exceeding 2 meters. A suitable lanyard length not exceeding 2 meters must be selected, taking potential fall distance and height of attachment, height of anchorage point into account. If lanyard is too long or anchorage point is too low, person may hit ground, a platform or objects below him before lanyard is able to break his fall. Area around base of scaffold must be barricaded. To prevent unauthorized access into work area. When scaffolding is erected or dismantled on a level platform or floor lying above ground level and potential access for components to fall to levels below level on which scaffolding is positioned, area directly below scaffolding on each of those levels must also be barricaded. Appropriate warning signage, that's overhead work in progress, and no unauthorized access must be prominently displayed. Hoist, lifts and approved material baskets must be used. Hoist, lifts and approved material baskets must be used where available to lift scaffolding components to elevated positions. Where components are passed from hand to hand during erection or dismantling of a scaffold, each scaffolding erector must always stand on 3 boards, each when components are passed from hand to hand during erection or dismantling of a scaffold, each scaffolding erector must always stand on three boards and not directly above person below him. During this process, each scaffolding erector must remain within confines of scaffold and must expose as little of his body as possible to minimize risk of being struck by a falling component. Good communication between team members must be maintained at all times. Now, I think I have to leave for some time. Let me see what's the status here. I'll see what is status here and come back because it's very important point. Let me see position of rain. It's no voice. Let me see. I'll be back. Just a minute, please. Let me see status of rain because I have to go to terrace. Problem and power all time. You find problems here and there every time. Find problem. Everywhere there's a problem. So what I was talking in this time, meanwhile few minutes left, was talking about something that's very important, that no scaffolding components, tools and other material may be dropped, and also where components are passed from hand to hand during erection or dismantling of a scaffold. Each scaffolding erector must always stand on three boards and not directly above person below him. During this process, each scaffolding erector must remain within confines of scaffold and must expose as little of body as possible to minimize risk of being struck by a falling component. Good communication among team members must be maintained at all times. No scaffolding components, tools or any other material may be dropped from height or thrown from one level to another. Components, tools and materials must be lowered or lifted in a controlled manner. Use may be made of a chute. Each tool must be secured to wrist. Harness or structure by means of lanyard. Each tool must be secured to wrist, harness or structure by means of a lanyard. A tool bag around waist or over shoulder may be used for carrying tools up and down a scaffold structure. Tools or equipment may not be carried by hand up or down a structure, as both hands must be used for climbing. If necessary, a rope must be used for lifting or lowering tools or equipment. While a scaffold is being erected or dismantled, no scaffolding components may be stacked on scaffold structure unless it has been designed for that purpose. Whatever loading of a scaffold structure must be authorized in writing by structural engineer. For special scaffolding, that is load-bearing scaffolding, a design must be prepared by appointed scaffolding supervisor, and this design must be authorized in writing by structural engineer before scaffolding is erected. Scaffolding may not stand on steel grating unless grating is adequately supported from below. Scaffolding must rather stand on structure that supports grating. Empty drums, crates or bricks. Empty drums, crates or bricks may not be used to prop up, support or anchor scaffold. Before scaffolding is erected in close proximity to an electrical installation or live conductors, an electrical engineer must inspect that area and determine whether or not scaffolding must be earthed. Should scaffolding require earthing, this must be done as soon as possible while scaffolding is being erected. Scaffolding may not be erected if it's raining, in winds stronger than 35 km/h, or if any lighting is observed. A green tag displaying words scaffold safe for use, or red tag displaying word danger, do not use scaffold must be prominently displayed on each scaffold at all times. Tag must be positioned close to base of ladder. Tag must be positioned close to base of a ladder or staircase provided for safe access. Wording on tag must be in English or and whatever other language commonly used on site. As a minimum, a green tag must display scaffolding supervisor's name, date that scaffold was erected, and date that scaffold was inspected. Only an appointed scaffolding supervisor may attach, change, update information on or remove these tags. Precautions during special conditions for leaving unattended, unsafe scaffold. Scaffold must be left partially erected. Scaffold must be left partially erected or partially dismantled except for normal working stoppages. For example, over work weekends, and then at very least scaffolding must be adequately braced to ensure that it is left partially erected or partially dismantled except for scaffold must be left. Precaution during special conditions for leaving unattended display. Scaffold must be left partially erected or partially dismantled except for normal working stoppages, for example over weekends, and then at very least scaffold must be adequately braced to ensure that it doesn't present a hazard. Left in an unsafe condition, if scaffolding is unavoidably in an unsafe condition, barricading must be in place to prevent unauthorized access, and required red tags must be prominently displayed on scaffold structure, moved or altered while work is in progress. Mobile scaffold safety. Mobile scaffolding safety. Mobile scaffolding must be equipped with brakes which must be engaged at all times when scaffolding is used. A scaffold must not be moved if some person is on structure. Safe access to scaffolding. Safe access to scaffolding. Safe and convenient access must be provided to every scaffold platform by means of properly installed ladders or approved stairways, which must remain unobstructed all times. Climbing up or down a scaffold on braces or ledgers is forbidden. Climbing up or down a scaffold on braces or ledgers is forbidden. All ladders used to access a scaffolding must be securely attached to scaffold structure. Hook-on and attachable ladders must be specifically designed for use with type of scaffolding being used. If a ladder is used to access a scaffold platform at a height greater than 1.5 meter above ground, a ladder must be secured internally, that is within scaffold structure, and there must be an opening closed with trapdoor in platform at top of ladder. If scaffold platform is at a height of less than 1.5 meter above ground, ladder may be attached externally provided guardrails around platform are modified to allow access. Opening of guardrails must be kept closed during a self-closing gate. No person may climb over through guardrails to gain access to platform. If a vertical ladder used on scaffolding is more than 5 meters in length, it must be equipped with a ladder cage extending from a 0.2 meter from base of ladder to a height of 1 meter above platform or uppermost platform that ladder is providing access to. Circular ladder cages must have an internal diameter of not more than 700 mm. Square ladder cages must have internal dimensions of no more than 700 mm by 700. Requirement for a ladder cage may be waived if platforms are provided at a height intervals not exceeding 8 meters. With vertical ladder secured on inside of scaffolding framework on an opening closed with a trap door in each platform, says requirement for a ladder cage may be waived if platforms are provided at height intervals not exceeding 8 meters with vertical ladder secured on inside of scaffold framework and an opening closed with trapdoor in each platform. Vertical ladders must be braced. Vertical ladders must be braced at 3 meters intervals as minimum to prevent undue movement. All vertical ladders providing access to platform must be left in place for as long as scaffold remains in place and must be inspected as part of scaffold structures. Safe scaffolding platform. Safe work platforms must be provided. Every work platform must be complete, that is from ledger to ledger and from transom to transom without any gaps. In order to prevent personal materials, tools, etc. from falling through platform. Every work platform must be constructed from manufactured steel scaffold boards. Every work platform must be constructed from manufactured steel scaffold boards, planks of equal thickness, height. Timber boards are not permitted under any circumstances. Each steel scaffold board must be securely hooked, fastened onto ledgers or transoms that support it. On all sides, every scaffold platform must be provided with sturdy guardrails positioned 500 mm above platform floor. Sturdy guardrails positioned 500 mm above platform floor, mid-rail and 1000 mm above platform floor, top rail and steel toe boards that are at 150 mm high and securely attached such that no gap exists between toe boards and platform boards. Wire mesh. Notice wire mesh infill panels. Wire mesh infill panels incorporating a toe board. Wire mesh infill panels incorporating a toe board may be used instead of a mid-rail. Wire mesh infill panels incorporating a toe board. Wire mesh infill panels incorporating a toe board may be used instead of mid-rail. Scaffold platforms must be as close to structure as is practicable. Scaffold platforms must all times be kept free of waste, protruding objects, and whatever other obstructions. Platforms must be cleaned if necessary to ensure that they are maintained in a non-slip state. Inspections of scaffolding. Every scaffold structure must be inspected by a competent scaffolding supervisor. Prior to use, after erection, and at least weekly thereafter. After inclement weather, heavy rain, strong winds, etc., after whatever incident resulting in jarring, tilting, or overloading, after whatever alteration is made, and before being dismantled. On completion of an inspection, scaffolding supervisor must update information on scaffold tag. A record of each inspection, date and time of inspection, location of scaffolding, findings, etc., must be captured in a register. Registers must be maintained by scaffolding supervisor carrying out inspections. Scaffolding components on parts identification and inspection. Scaffold components. All scaffolding components belonging to a contractor. All scaffolding components belonging to a contractor must be properly marked. All scaffolding components belonging to a contractor must be properly marked or uniquely colored to enable positive identification. Prior to erecting a scaffold, all scaffolding components must be carefully inspected by a competent scaffolding supervisor. Components found to be defective during an inspection must be conspicuously marked and removed to a suitably demarcated quarantine area for destruction, repair, refurbishment, or removal from site. Deformed and bent wedges must be straightened and inspected for cracks before being put back into service. What says components found to be defective during an inspection must be conspicuously marked and removed to a suitably demarcated quarantine area for destruction, for repair, for refurbishment, or for removal from site. Deformed and bent wedges must be straightened and inspected for cracks before being put back into service. Safety in scaffolding uses. Responsibility of user, scaffolding, do and don'ts. What's happening like this? I don't understand really. What to do? Something somewhere, some problem sometimes. Here is problem and there is problem. Safety in scaffolding uses. Responsibility of users scaffolding, do and don't. User of a scaffold, that is responsible supervisor, must inspect erected structure prior to acceptance and must ensure, as far as reasonably possible, that scaffold is safe and fit for purpose before allowing team to make use of scaffold. In particular, user must ensure that scaffold and platforms have been constructed to meet loading requirements of work that is to be carried out. Scaffolding supervisor must be consulted in this regard. Scaffolding supervisor has checked that adequate ties and braces are in place. Work platforms are in correct positions and are complete with toe boards and guardrails. Work platforms are in correct positions and are complete with toe boards and guardrails. Safe and convenient access has been provided. Ladders and or stairways, that is ladders or stairways, which is called safe and convenient access. And a green scaffold safe for use tag has been attached to scaffold by scaffolding supervisor. Use of an incomplete or unsafe scaffold is prohibited. Unsteady or non-rigid scaffolds must not be used. Unsteady or non-rigid scaffolds must not be used, and inadequacies must be reported to and rectified by responsible scaffolding supervisors. User of a scaffold must ensure that every person in his team is aware that no alterations to scaffold may be made by team during course of their work, and that if certain alterations are required, they must be made by competent scaffolding erectors under supervision of an appointed scaffolding supervisor. A scaffold may not be used if a red tag is displayed indicating that scaffold is not safe to use. During inclement weather, defined as wind speeds greater than 40 km per hour, thunderstorms or heavy rain in excess of 40 km per hour. Area around base of a scaffold must be appropriately barricaded to prevent unauthorized access into work area. Appropriate warning signs must be prominently displayed. Loose tools and or materials on scaffold platforms must be secured using lanyards, wire or fiber rope, or must be placed in secured containers. Where appropriate, catch nets deemed may be installed as an additional safety measure to prevent materials or tools from falling to ground. Storage or placement of materials on scaffolding platforms must be kept to a minimum. Debris as well as tools and materials that are no longer required must be removed from all working platforms at least once per day. Scaffolding platforms must be cleaned regularly. A heavy load may not be placed on a scaffolding platform unless scaffold has been designed and constructed specifically for that purpose. Whatever loading of a scaffold structure must be authorized in writing by a structural engineer. Scaffolds may not be used as hoisting towers or to support piping or equipment. Each person working from scaffolding must wear fall protection, that is a full body safety harness with two shock absorbing lanyards with scaffold hooks, and must be securely anchored all times. All work must be carried out from properly constructed work platforms. Standing on railings or braces in order to perform work is forbidden. All work must be carried out from properly constructed work platforms. Standing on railing or braces in order to perform work is forbidden. Drums, boxes, and other makeshift substitutes for scaffolding may not be used under whatever circumstances. Where work on an electrical system is to be undertaken from a scaffold, an electrical engineer must determine whether or not a scaffolding structure requires bonding and earthing. Scaffolding may not be used until this has been determined, and if required, until structure has been bonded and earthed. Specifically and specially designed and constructed scaffolding can take maximum loads greater than 240 kg per square meter. Specifically and specially designed and constructed scaffolding can take maximum loads greater than 240 kg per square meter, such as masonry work, piping, or equipment, and is classified as a special scaffold. Storage of scaffolding components or parts. All scaffolding components must be stored in a demarcated storage area in such a manner that they are not exposed to environmental extremes and shall not cause injury to persons. Suitable barricading or fencing must be erected and warning signs must be posted, namely no unauthorized entry. Within a storage area, scaffolding components must be stacked such that pathways 750 mm in width are maintained between stacks. Each stack must be stable and components must be neatly placed to ensure that no end protrude into any pathway. Various components must be stacked separately. Weight of scaffolding components must be considered when stacking them in elevated positions. Storage areas for scaffolding components must be positioned such that it shall not interfere with on-site activity, including operation of whatever plant or equipment, block whatever access way. It should not obstruct access to whatever plant or equipment. Ladder safety. Working at heights, hazards and control measures. Ladder safety. Ladders may be used for carrying out simple jobs. However, with approval, adequate controls and supervision by experienced personnel, ladders, when approved for use, must always be secured to ensure they do not slip during operation, and they must be laid flat on identified storage area when not in use. Portable ladder safety, portable ladders, hazards and risk control. A formal and documented risk assessment must show that no practical alternatives exist before a ladder can be used. A formal and documented risk assessment must show that no practical alternatives exist before a ladder can be used. A good handhold must be available at all times. Ladders must be checked by user for general condition prior to each use. Use of ladder must be followed in accordance to manufacturer's specifications and recommendations. Due to product specification changes that may occur, users, when in doubt, should always consult manufacturer's specifications. If ladder is found to be unsafe, it must be tagged out and removed from site immediately and destroyed. Do not use top two rungs on a step ladder. All portable extension ladders shall extend a minimum of 36 inch or 1 meter past area to be accessed. 3-point contacts must be maintained all times when climbing a ladder. Equipment and or materials must not be carried up a ladder. A rope may be utilized to transport equipment and or material. 3-point contacts must be maintained at all times when climbing a ladder. Extension lead support. So this is extension ladder safety, extension ladder's hazard and risk control. This is your ladder, extension ladder. This is ladder. This is 15 degrees angle. This is overlap here. This extension ladder is this with overlap, and this is step onto roof from this rung, and always at least 3 rungs over. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like this, say 4 units here, and say this is slope. So we can, 1 unit is this is 4 units to 4. 1 is to 4 is angle, and here is this overlap. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points we connect. Then you go further. Extension ladders must be tied off, secured at top and bottom all times unless ladder is being used for short duration work and is being stabilized by another worker. One worker must hold ladder while another worker climbs and secures ladder. Only then can worker stabilizing ladder let go of ladder. What does it mean? It says extension. Alright. Extension ladders must be tied off, secured at top and bottom all times unless ladder is being used for short duration work and is being stabilized by another worker. One worker must hold ladder while other worker climbs and secures ladder. Only then can worker stabilizing ladder let go to ladder. Extension ladders must not be taken apart to use extension as a second ladder, as no swivel feet are on this section of ladder. Portable ladder safety for short-term work. Workers performing light duty work from a portable ladder at a height of 6 feet or greater or 2 meters, where ladder shall be at any one spot for sporadic short-term work must follow guidelines below. Work should be reached without stretching. What it says, while workers performing light duty work from a portable ladder at a height of 2 meters or greater, where ladder be at any one spot for sporadic short-term work, must follow guidelines as follows. Work should be reached without stretching. Worker must have one hand available to hold on to ladder or other support to maintain 3 points of contact. Ladder should not be positioned near an edge of excavation or floor opening that would significantly increase potential fall distance. Only non-conducive ladders shall be used for electrical work. Only non-conductive, not conducive, because it's electrical. Only non-conductive ladders shall be used for electrical work or work being performed in proximity to energized electrical equipment. Metal ladders and ladders with metal reinforcement may not be used. Use of makeshift ladder is forbidden. General ladder safety tips. All ladders must be numbered, listed in a register and inspected by competent person on a monthly basis. Results of each inspection must be recorded in register. Before using a ladder, user must inspect it for damage. Ladders with missing, broken, cracked or loose rungs, split styles, missing or broken spreaders, step ladders or whatever other form of damage or defect must not be used. Ladders with missing, broken, cracked or loose rungs, split styles, missing or broken spreaders, step ladders or whatever other form of damage or defect must not be used. A damaged ladder must be removed from service and tagged out of service without delay and must then either be repaired if possible or destroyed to prevent further use. Persons must receive instruction or training on correct use of ladder and proper care of ladders. Ladders may only be used as a means of access and egress. Use of ladders as working platforms is prohibited except for inspection and carrying out minor tasks, namely light work and short duration, such as changing a light bulb. Ladders must not be positioned horizontally and used as walkways or runways or as scaffolding. All portable ladders must be fitted with non-skid safety feet or some other means to prevent base of ladder from slipping, and feet must always be placed on a firm level surface. Use of bricks, stones, wood or some other material to level styles of a ladder is prohibited. Ladders may not be placed on movable bases such as boxes, tables, trucks, etc. Base or foot of a ladder must always be secured to prevent it from slipping. Ladder must be held by an assistant if base cannot be secured in any other way. Straight ladder must extend its straight ladder must extend at least 1 meter beyond its support. Or above working platform that it is provided access to. Top of ladder must be tied off or otherwise secured to its support to prevent accidental movement. A straight ladder must be placed at safe angle, that is tilted to at a ratio of approximately 4:1, meaning that base of ladder must be 1 meter away from wall or other vertical surface for every 4 meters of height to point of support. A step ladder. A step ladder may never be used as a straight ladder. A step ladder must be opened fully and spreaders must be locked securely. When using an extension ladder, at least 4 rungs must always overlap at center of ladder. Ladders may not be joined together unless they have been specifically designed and manufactured for that purpose. A suspended ladder, that is not standing on a base, must be attached in a secure manner to prevent undue swinging or swaying. A suspended ladder that is not standing on a base must be attached in a secure manner to prevent undue swinging or swaying and to ensure that it cannot be displaced. A ladder may not be placed against a window, glass, or any other material which is unlikely to withstand force exerted on it by top of ladder. A ladder, a ladder may not be placed in front of a door or window that opens towards ladder unless door or window has been locked or barricaded. When a ladder is used near an entrance or exit, base of ladder must be barricaded. Materials and or equipment may not be placed in close proximity to base or landing of any ladder. When ascending or descending a ladder, a person must always face ladder and use both hands, that is, maintain 3 points of contact. Nothing may be carried up or down a ladder if it prevents person from holding onto ladder with both hands. Tools must always be properly secured. This can be achieved by attaching them to wrist using lanyards or placing them in a tool belt around wrist. Tools and materials may also be carried in a bag over shoulder or hoisted to landing using a tool bag and rope. Only one person at a time may use, that is, be positioned on a ladder. No person may stand or step above third rung from top of straight ladder. No person may stand or step above third rung from top of straight ladder or above second highest step of a step ladder. Overreaching from a ladder is prohibited. Overreaching from a ladder is prohibited if target is not within comfortable reach. Person must climb down and reposition ladder. Overreaching from a ladder is prohibited if target is not within comfortable reach. Person must climb down and reposition ladder. No person may run up or down a ladder or jump from lower rungs or steps off the ground. All ladders must be properly maintained and cared for. Ladders must be stored under cover and should be hung in a horizontal position from several brackets. No ladder may be left lying on ground or be left exposed to weather. A ladder left lying on ground presents a tripping hazard and it may be damaged by vehicles running over it. No ladder may be left in such a position where it may fall over, be accidentally knocked over, or be blown over by wind. Ladders may not be painted. Ladders may not be painted as paint may conceal damage, defects, labels, or other markings. Instead of paint, clear varnish or wood oil may be used to preserve wooden ladders. Ladder must be kept clean as dirt may conceal damage or defects. Oil or grease accumulation on rungs of ladder may cause a person to slip. Before making use of a ladder, each person must make an effort to remove mud, oil, grease, etc. from his boots. Working at height, dropped objects prevention. Following should be followed to Following should be followed when whatever is given below is to follow to prevent dropped objects when working at height. Where dropped objects hazard has been identified in a formal and documented risk assessment. All tools, materials required for use at height must be secured in tool bags and or boxes. All tools, materials, following should be done to prevent dropped objects where working at height where dropped objects hazard has been identified in a formal and documented risk assessment. All tools, materials required for use at height must be secured in tool bags and or boxes. No tools or materials should be delivered by throwing to anyone working at height. All heavy tools or materials which are required by those working at height must be delivered through a safe path or specific lifting facility. Piling up of materials on scaffold. Piling up of materials on scaffold in a manner that may lead to drop objects is strictly prohibited. Piling up of materials on scaffold in a manner that may lead to drop objects is strictly prohibited. At end of every height related operations, removal of tools, materials, PPEs and other items used at height must be removed through a safe path. Conclusion. Working at height is a risky job and requires intensive safety measures to safeguard persons. OSHA and National Safety Council. OSHA is Occupational Health and Safety Association and National Safety Council NSC declared that most of accidents occurred worldwide due to failure in fall prevention standards. These incidences alerting employers to assure safety measures while working at height by ensuring safety best safety standard in workplace while working at height, name safe scaffolding, you can say, safe ladders, edge fall protections, lifeline, full body harness, hazard identification, risks management, supervision and engaging competent workers. Accident can be prevented. So these are examples are namely safe scaffolding, safe ladders, edge fall protection, lifeline, full body harness, hazard identification, risk assessment or risk management, supervision and engaging competent workmen or persons. Accidents can be prevented. So this was your here is quick safety. I'm not talking of cost, I'm just telling you diagram, the sketches, this photos, fall protection roofing, you can say, for roofing, fall protection, permit safety. Okay, we do like that. Just we go back. So we have got here a talk on working at height scaffolding it was, and we have talked about that. We have talked about all this. That is its position of rain. It's very important for me. I think it's raining now. Again it's raining. This is the problem. Difficult for me to work in the rain. rain and rain. It's the problem now. Well, what to do? Beyond my controls. Working at heights, we have discussed, and this was, I think, good interest for everybody. And now we'll go to our talks that we are interested in. I think I should close this file probably. We have this talk with us. I started with what was purpose of this was a procedure applies to all personnel employed on project shall be applied at locations where work is carried out at elevations in excess of 2 meters above ground level or grade level. And purpose of this procedure is to provide guidelines on measures to be taken for personnel working at height. Working at height is a common requirement on all projects of whatever sort. Even a small house construction requires such safety provisions that are generally neglected and overlooked. So you can say what's purpose of this procedure is to provide guidelines on measures to be taken for personnel working at height. Working at height is a common requirement on all projects of whatever sort. Even a small house construction requires such safety provisions that are generally neglected or overlooked. All projects such as residential, commercial, industrial, oil sector or others. Excepting roads require implementation of stands as included within this statement. Very significant is this procedure from safety maintenance status, since cases have been registered in past of collapse leading to stalls. It has been experienced that on common project not controlled by professionals, non-expert workers do not care about safety precautions, just working at higher levels, thinking and assuming that no problem shall be faced. It's forgotten by neglecting personnel that it requires fraction of a second to fall from height, and also it takes minutes to die. Got it? Now certain definitions we'll talk of. Safety means safety, health and environment discipline to support project activities. Company means an organization carrying out prosecution of project, and contractor means organization that has won that project, subcontractor, client, etc. Same thing as we did before. And training means training imparted for specific safety topic on job or on project site. And management means organization, top, middle and other. So we'll go to now, we go to project manager, site leader, site safety, etc. And all that similar, repetitive. So you can say now, we go to responsibilities also same. You can say show working of this procedure known to everybody, and workforce complies to this procedure on works, and developing a start card in job hazard assessment or analysis statements. All personnel be adequately trained to operate above ground levels, and ensure that line supervision competent by training and experience shall be provided for control of work above ground level, ensuring that minimum required number of personnel are assigned to minimize exposure to risk from falls, provide employees personnel with relevant personal protective equipment so the work can be carried out in a safe manner, ensuring edge protection is provided at possible locations where personnel could be susceptible to fall when working at height more than 2 meters, ensuring personnel in vicinity of above ground work are not subject to risk of falling objects. Both contractor and subcontractor, for them structural steel superintendents, shall ensure that no work is being carried out on structure steel until it has been made safe with gratings, handrails, kick plates, in position and overall structure and instructions. So I am disturbed because of this rain. Instructions are now there. Let's go through instructions. Primary means of achieving safe working conditions. Primary means of achieving safe working conditions when working at heights is to provide adequate, sufficient access and egress arrangements with suitable provision of working platforms at place of work. A toolbox truck shall be delivered to each person carrying out work at height. Following an assessment of risks, supervisors shall instruct personnel on procedures and precautions to be followed when working at height. Approved full body safety harness should only be used for safe working where working conditions do not allow to use a safe working platform. Fall protection equipment. Personnel working above ground level on incomplete structures, scaffolds, etc. shall be provided with and use appropriate fall protection equipment and personal protective equipment. Manufacturer's instructions must be observed, complied with when using fall arrest equipment. A competent person must regularly inspect fall protection equipment at least every 6 months. It should also be maintained properly in good conditions. It should be satisfactory for use during construction period. Effective actions must be taken to rectify whatever defects observed following inspections. Fall protection equipment which has been deployed must be examined by a competent person and instructed to be either repaired or destroyed if action so requires. Fall protection devices and systems shall not be used for any other purpose than it is intended for. Fall protection such as safety harness and lanyards must be used in situations where these are impracticable. It's impracticable to provide primary systems, where it is impracticable to provide primary systems. So we have to use safety harnesses and lanyards. Whenever full body safety harnesses are used, they must be secured to an anchorage point, running line, or arrestor device. Full safety harnesses with thigh and shoulder straps shall be worn. Lanyard and anchorage points should limit maximum drop within 2 meters. Note: safety belts are generally considered as presenting an additional hazard to user wearer due to an impact that a fall imposes on sternum and chest of an individual, which may cause injury. What says specific note for safety? Safety belts. Safety belts are generally considered as presenting an additional hazard to user wearer due to an impact that a fall imposes on sternum and chest of an individual, which may cause injury. Shock absorbers should be provided. Shock absorbers should be provided with harness system in order to reduce shock impact loading in event of a fall case. Running lines. Running line systems can be used to provide a secure anchorage point. Running line system can be used to provide a secure anchorage point for safety harness. Running lines should only be installed and maintained by competent persons. These systems must be designed for loads which lines are expected to sustain. These systems must be designed for loads which lines are expected to sustain. Lines must be supported on anchorages that are sufficiently strong, securely fixed to these anchorages, and are of sufficient size and strength to support a falling person or persons. Self-reeling arrestor devices. Inertia reels. Inertia reel devices directly attached to safety harnesses and anchor points provide good protection against fall and allow flexibility of movement. Inertia reel devices directly attached to safety harnesses and anchorage points provide good protection against falls and allow flexibility of movement. These devices shall be securely anchored using shackles and carabiners attached to wire rope, slings or webbing slings. Regular inspections and checks of these devices. Regular inspections and checks of these devices shall be carried out in order to ensure that they operate efficiently. Should be satisfactory for use during construction period. Effective actions must be taken to rectify defects observed during inspections. Fall protection equipment which has been deployed must be examined by a competent person and repaired or destroyed as necessary. Fall protection devices and systems shall not be used for any other purpose than intended for. Here what we are seeing something different is that what device is that? Inertia reel devices, self-reeling arresters devices, let us say inertia reel devices. It is That is what I can say here is self-reeling arrest devices. Self-reeling arrest device. You can see here is something I am search for your piece, so be careful that that will be taken into your consideration here, which is I think better to cut it. Retractable fall arrest inertia reel self-retracting line to EN360. This is a retractable fall arrest inertia reel self-retracting lifeline. Lifting safety fall arrest inertia blocks to EN360. Category fall arrest inertia blocks to EN360-2044. This is that one. Fall arrest retractable inertial reel blocks self-attracting lifeline to EN360 is that one. These are devices I'm trying to show to you. So we go one by one here. Let me first save it so that it works well. That's okay, What's that now? We'll see. I think one is enough. Let's take the hour down and let's see something else here. What is self-retracting lanyard? It's too old. So I close this and it's okay. It's this one. Lifting safety retractable fall arrest device. High quality inertia reels from Miller and Sala. Fall arrest inertia reels to EN360 are an excellent way to reduce fall distance for those unfortunate enough to have fallen while working at height. Reduction in fall distance means less chance of injury to casualty and an easier rescue. Reducing fall distance is main feature for fall arrest inertia reels. In this category, we offer a great range with a cable lifeline length up to 60 meters long. This is manufacturer's statement. We offer, when we see we means fall arrest blocks from top quality manufacturers including Tractel, Sala, Miller, Yale, Ridgegear and many more. These are fall arrest blocks that are sealed offshore, outdoor, etc. So we'll go to something else. Okay, say only operate. What did it say? I'm not interested in their statement. We are only operate. Say this V is arrest blocks that are sealed for offshore unit, outdoor use ones with stainless steel components, lightweight blocks and very durable units. Only operate inertia reel with manufacturers acceptable angles of use taking time to read label on inertia field and follow manufacturer's operations. So most self-retracting lifelines Self-retracting lifelines cannot be used outside beyond 40 degrees from vertical, though we also offer inertial rails are suitable for horizontal. Okay, leave it. These arresters are certified for horizontal use. All fall arrest inertial rails have permissible angle of use, and this must be considered when, okay, leave it. Then lifting safety fall arrest inertia blocks to EN360 category fall arrest inertia blocks. Okay, this is that. It says what's that? You can say in lifting safety fall arrest inertia. A Miller fall arrest retractable inertia rail blocks. Honeywell, Falcon this is, and then we can say Salah fall arrest retractable inertia blocks. So that, then Rebel, which is then tractile fall arrest inertia rails, self-retracting lifelines, and this is also E360. Tiger fall arrest inertia rail blocks. Ridge gear fall arrest retractable inertia rail blocks. Ridge gear. Yale fall arrest retractable inertia rail blocks, self-retracting lifeline. Retractable blocks totally eliminate tripping hazards associated with traditional fall arrest lanyard or rope guided fall arrestor. Rope grip system we offer. Okay, leave it also. I'm not interested in what they offer. So this was, I just tried to show you what is this fall arrest. Fall arrest something. It's better to understand only. Alright. Now working at heights possesses high risk and most of fatality recorded worldwide due to failure of fall protection measures. Its ninth consecutive year, fall protection declared. National Safety Council and Occupational Health and Safety Administration (OSHA) have stated that the top 10 are often as possible related to violation of well-being. Okay, we'll leave it now. Come on to our point. I'll also close this because there's no use of this now. It was self-reeling arrest devices which are stocking inertia rails. Inertia rail devices directly attached to safety harnesses. These devices are directly attached to safety harnesses and anchor points, provide good protection against falls and allow flexibility of movement. These devices shall be securely anchored using shackles and carabiners attached to wire rope slings or webbing slings. Regular inspections and checks of these devices shall be carried out in order to ensure that they operate efficiently. Should be satisfactory for use during construction period. Effective action must be taken to rectify defects observed during inspections. Full fall protection equipment which has been deployed must be examined by a competent person and repaired or destroyed as necessary. Fall protection devices and systems shall be used for another purpose. Scaffolds. Scaffolds. Scaffolds are provided for purpose of working at height adjacent to building inside or outside. More than 2 meter height requires scaffolding system all over. Working platforms are constructed temporarily at such heights. Access steps of ladders are provided for access to work platform. Scaffolding arrangements are described elsewhere, shall be complied with in conformance to system requirements. Ladders should be used primarily as a means of access and not as a working platform. If work is required to be carried out using ladders, personnel shall use and wear approved safety harnesses for fall protection. Ladders should be suited for purpose for which it is intended to be used and be free from defects. Only ladders made from non-conductive materials shall be used for work on or near live electrical installation. Ladders shall be set on a firm level base. Makeshift props should not be used to gain extra height or to extend level. Ladders should not cause a hazard by locating them where they may be stuck or dislodged. Barriers should be placed around foot of ladder where necessary. Ladder should, wherever possible, be secured at top and bottom by lashing. In cases where ladder is unable to be secured, someone should be instructed to stand. Grip ladder at bottom point with one foot pressed at bottom rung. Permitted only if ladder is shorter than 5 meters. Ladder should not rest against any fragile surface or fittings. Ladders must extend to at least 1.05 meters. Ladders must extend to 1.25 meters above landing level unless some other suitable handhold is available. Both hands must be free when ascending or descending from ladder. Tools and materials should be carried using either a suitable shoulder bag or belt or be hoisted up ladder. Ladders should be pitched lean with a 1:4 incline, that is 75 degrees to horizontal. Personnel using ladders must be trained and instructed for hazards associated with their use and measures to be adopted to prevent ladder accidents. Temporary work elevated work platforms, walkways. Temporary work elevated work platforms, walkways. Temporary work platforms, walkways, namely those constructed from lightweight staging, must be adequately supported and secured in order to prevent undue movement. Edge guard protection must be provided on temporary work platforms, walkways. Safety harnesses are required to be worn whenever personnel gain access onto temporary work platform or walkways. Personnel working from mobile elevated work platforms, men riding skips and cradles shall attach their safety harnesses to a secure anchorage point. Personnel who are not fully protected by complete platforms must use their safety harnesses or walkways or are required to carry out work below guardrail level. Personnel who are not fully protected by complete platforms must use either safety harness or walkways or are required to carry out work below guardrail level. Mobile work platform. Drivers or mobile work platform, cherry pickers, scissor lifts, etc. shall be specifically authorized to operate platforms and be trained to be competent on type of lift to be operated. Personal riding or working from mobile work platforms must wear an approved safety harness securely connected to a suitable anchor point on platform. Mobile work platforms should be operated on level and firm ground conditions in order to eliminate possibility of overturning. There must be adequate clearance on ground to prevent mobile work platform colliding with adjacent structures, overhead power lines, other vehicles, etc. Cones and warning lights should be erected around machine where necessary. A competent person should regularly conduct on mobile work platforms inspections and maintenance. Safe working loads and permitted number of persons on platform must not exceed as indicated. Mast climbing work platform. This was mobile work platform. Mobile work platform. Let us see. Say there are so many actually here, not one. Indianmode.com, Indianmode.com. I'm not interested in that. Let's say something like stairs, elevating work, scissor lift, and what was that point we talking about? This was actually what examples we have taken there. Let us see that. Cherry pickers, scissors lifts, etc. Cherry pickers and scissor lifts, as we are saying. Cherry pickers, there's some cherry pickers. Scissor lift will talk of. Let us see scissor lift, Scissor lift. I think it's not working at all. It's not working that way I thought. It's not taking that. No, it's not taking. I'm sorry, it's not taking. So I tried to show you this. No, not in this, not in this. So I tried to show in this case. Let's see how it goes. Let us see how it works. That's also important, you know. So I only will depend on this small page. This is what it shows. Safe rack offer. Safe rack offers roller, step mobile platforms and stairs. Mobile platforms stairs is. Is another one. G series is another one. VR series is another one. MP series another one. You know, C series easily customized mobile cantilever work platform. Cantilever work platform, and then stability meets mobility. Then you can say it's like that. Adjustable heights, and this is just I want to show you this one. That one will go further, just to know what we're talking about, and that's an important point, you know. So it's a mobile working platform. So we're talking. This was something with the we talked of mobile working platforms, and now mast climbing work platforms. Mast climbing work platforms means mast climbing work platform should only be erected by skilled and competent persons and be used by trained operators. Mast climbing working platforms or work platform should only be erected by skilled and competent persons and be used by trained operators. Should be inspected daily before use, and the competent person should regularly inspect mast climbing work platform for, and records of inspection should be booked. MCWP or mast climbing work platform be clearly marked with safe working load and permitted number of persons allowed on platform at each configuration. Operators should not carry out repairs and adjustments to mast climbing working platform unless qualified and authorized so to do. Safe means of access to platform should be provided at its lowest level. This may be done by a short fixed ladder, a raised platform, or by control arrangements which allow platforms to be brought down to ground level. Ground conditions must be checked for adequate bearing. A safety barrier around must be erected to exclude personnel from area below platform. Personal carriers, a skip or cradle used for man lifting must conform with following requirements. These are personal carriers. That is, safe working load should be clearly marked on skip, cradle, together with maximum number of persons it can carry. Guardrail height must be 1.05 meter to 1.15 meter. Toe board height must be minimum 150 mm, and a mid rail must also be fitted. Crane carrying out man lifting must be fitted with a dead man's handle and powered lowering facilities. Men must never be lowered in free fall conditions. Personnel working out of man riders must wear an approved safety harness and attach their lanyards to a collar, chain, sling which is attached to crane hook. Skeletal straight open structures. This section deals with fall protection. Fall protection when personnel are required to gain access to, move across and work on skeletal steel. Open structure such as pipe rack, movement across open structures such as pipe racks, movement across a work being carried out on some elevated area which is not designed either as a walkway or working per platform, as pipe, cable tray, etc. Open structures. Fall protection. This section deals with fall protection when personnel are required to gain access to, move across and work on skeletal steel. Open structure such as pipe racks, movement across or work being carried out on some elevated area which is not designed either as a walkway or working platform, namely pipe, cable tray, etc. Personnel working or moving across elevated skeletal steel, open structures more than 2 meters above ground level shall wear an approved safety harness and secure their lanyards either to suitable fall arrest equipment or structure itself. This includes both vertical and horizontal access. Vertical access on these structures shall be gained by means of properly positioned and secured access ladders. If more than one ladder length is required to gain access, they must have a staggered side-by-side overlap and not lashed together in one long straight run, which creates a dangerously located uneven step-in step-out overlap. Personnel must avoid securing lanyards to cable trays, conduit and small bore screwed pipes. Work area shall be surveyed to ensure that no damage can be incurred to install equipment prior to work commencing. Permanent structures, stairs, cased and ladders. Personnel working or moving across permanent decks, floors and walkways which do not present fall hazards are not required to wear safety harnesses, provided that they can access these structures by using fully completed stairs or using personal hoists. Personnel working or moving across incomplete structures prone to risk of falling from more than 2 meters height must wear and use approved safety harnesses attached to fall arrest equipment on structure. Temporary or permanent guardrails and floor covers shall be installed as soon as possible in order to eliminate risk of falling. Only unauthorized and competent personnel shall work from incomplete structures on installation duty with provided fall arrest measures. Permanent stairs shall be used to access or egress elevated work platforms. Installation and completion of permanent stairs shall be scheduled a priority. Personal climbing ladders must keep both hands free. Carrying off items by hand while climbing ladders is prohibited. Structural steel erection. Personnel erecting structural steel work must be provided with and use suitable fall protection, including safety harnesses, running lines, self-reeling arrestor devices. Climbing of columns and walking on structural steel work members is prohibited. Straddling steel work is permitted, providing adequate fall protection is utilized during this operation. The STAD. Area below steel erection work must be reopened. Area below steel erection work must be roped off and have warning signs displayed. All tools being used at height must be secured with restraining ropes to prevent them from falling down on the others. Practice of throwing tools and bolts at height shall not be permitted. All steel being raised and landed, placed by crane, shall be fitted with tag lines for ease of control. It is particularly important to ensure that all personnel know and understand methods of work necessary for ensuring that they stay secured all the time. When working at height, numerous fatalities have occurred through personnel unclipping or unsecuring themselves to access their work location. Adverse results due to such activity without use of harness have been observed, leading to hazards. Consequences must be emphasized on explained during activity briefing and training sessions. Reinforced steel concrete formwork. Personnel working at more than 2 meters height above ground level on walls, columns and on concrete fascia, suspended slabs, formwork must be provided with adequate fall protection, namely scaffold, safety harnesses, etc. Specific job safety analysis should be carried out on such work activities. Personnel must receive specific instruction about equipment to be used and fall protection measures to be utilized during work. Crane rigging, de-rigging. Personnel engaged in the crane Specific job safety analysis should be carried out on such activities. Personnel must receive specific instructions about equipment to be used and fall protection measures to be utilized during work. Crane rigging, de-rigging. Personnel engaged in crane rigging, de-rigging must wear and use suitable and required fall arrest equipment, namely safety harnesses, retractable lifelines. Movement in elevated areas must be minimized by use of ladders and, if required, mobile elevated work platforms may be used. Walking across cords and struts of crane booms without using continuous fall protection, such as running lines, is prohibited. A specific toolbox talk on fall prevention. Fall protective measures must be delivered to all personnel involved with crane rigging, de-rigging prior to work commences. Rigging, material handling, offloading trailers. Ensure that load is stable, balanced before commencing to unload trailer. Inspect trailer beds for holes or weak decking. Do not stand between any load being hoisted and lifting appliance being used. Use tag lines to control loads. Always stand clear of loads being lifted. Before unloading pipe spools, ensure that pipes are stable before removing retaining straps. Protective gloves must be worn all times. Rigging with large loads. Rigging of and lifting of loads at height require personnel to utilize fall protection. Fall protection can be provided by means of self-reeling arrestor devices during rigging of large loads. Use of mild elevated work platform can Use of say rigging of and lifting loads at height require person to utilize fall protection. Work should be planned accordingly. Ladders for access and egress provided. Fall protection can be provided by means of self-reeling arrested devices during rigging of large loads. Use of mobile elevated work platforms can reduce risk of fall during rigging operations. References. Now, pre-work checklist, that's important, is pre-work checklist, that's very important point. I think few point only we have to see. Has a risk assessment in form of a start card or job hazard assessment or analysis been carried out? We have to make sure. Then have all necessary permits been obtained? We have to make sure. Is all access equipment of adequate design and has been correctly installed, or are actually all access equipment of adequate design and has it been correctly installed? Access equipment, whatever, how have all personnel associated with work been briefed and understand safety requirements? So we can say, is all access equipment of adequate design and has it been correctly installed? You have to make sure. Have all personnel associated with work been briefed and understand safety requirements? Have all personnel carrying and work been provided with correct personal protective equipment? These are certain questions and must be answered before starting. And I think now time is to close. I think basically now close this better because of so many reasons. Not this one. It's not this one. It's here. So it's time to